It's fascinating how we've been conditioned to view age as something that happens to us, as though it's a burden we must carry with the passage of time. Yet, when you truly examine life, you realize that age is as much about the spirit as it is about the body. The connection between our inner vitality and our outward appearance is undeniable. It's as though the energy you cultivate within yourself spills over, shaping the way you move, the light in your eyes, and even the tone of your voice. When you meet someone who radiates energy and enthusiasm, what do you notice first? It's not the lines on their face or the gray in their hair, it's the vitality they bring into the room. That spark transcends physicality. Their presence commands attention, not because of what they look like, but because of the energy they embody. You see, what we often mistake for youth isn't tied to a number. It's a state of being, a way of living that reflects an inner aliveness. Consider how your thoughts and emotions influence your physicality. When you're deeply engaged in something that excites you, don't you feel lighter, as if you're glowing from within? Your posture changes, your eyes brighten, and even the way you speak carries a sense of vibrancy. This is your inner vitality expressing itself, and it's far more impactful than any external feature. Conversely, when you're weighed down by stress, self-doubt, or negativity, it shows. Your shoulders slump, your face tightens, and you seem to carry an invisible heaviness that others can feel. In this way, your spirit doesn't just shape your appearance, it defines the way you're perceived by the world. It's easy to get caught up in the external markers of age. Society tells us to chase youth, to smooth away wrinkles, to dye over gray hairs, as though these things are the measure of our worth. But what if the real key to radiance has nothing to do with hiding the passage of time? What if the secret lies in nurturing the vibrancy of your inner self? When you shift your focus from trying to appear youthful to simply embodying your aliveness, everything changes. Your confidence grows, and that confidence has a way of eclipsing any so-called imperfections. Think about a time when you felt most alive, perhaps during a moment of deep connection, an exhilarating experience, or a creative breakthrough. In those moments, you weren't concerned with how you looked, but you were entirely present. And in that presence, you exuded something far more powerful than youthfulness. You exuded life. And isn't that what we're all drawn to in others? It's not perfection that captivates us. It's the feeling of being in the presence of someone fully alive, someone whose spirit is thriving. This is not to dismiss the changes that come with time. Our bodies evolve, and there is beauty in that evolution. But instead of seeing these changes as losses, what if we viewed them as markers of a life well lived? Each line, each gray hair is a testament to the experiences that have shaped you, the lessons you've learned, and the love you've given and received. When you carry these signs of your journey with pride, they become a part of your radiance, not a detraction from it. You have the power to cultivate inner vitality at any age. It begins with how you treat yourself, not just your body, but your mind and spirit. Feed your curiosity. Surround yourself with things that inspire you. Engage in activities that make you feel alive, whether it's dancing, painting, or simply laughing with friends. These are the things that keep your spirit vibrant. And when your spirit is vibrant, it has a way of shining through, no matter how many candles are on your birthday cake. In the end, what truly matters is the energy you bring into each moment. That energy is what people remember. Not the clothes you wore, not the lines on your face, but the way you made them feel. When you radiate inner vitality, you give others permission to do the same. It's as though your light ignites theirs, creating a ripple effect of aliveness that touches everyone around you. So, if you ever find yourself worrying about the signs of aging, remember this: your spirit is timeless. It's the source of your beauty, your magnetism, and your presence. Nurture it, let it shine, and you will find that the illusion of age fades away, leaving only the brilliance of your aliveness. After all, isn't it the light within us that truly defines how we're seen? And that light, my friends, is ageless. When we think about the way we perceive ourselves, it's fascinating how much of it is influenced by the world outside us. We are surrounded by mirrors, some literal, some metaphorical, that reflect back an image of who we are. And yet those reflections are rarely true. They are filtered through societal standards, cultural expectations, and the opinions of others. Over time, these external influences shape how we see ourselves, often disconnecting us from the deeper truth of our being. Think about the way society constantly tells us what we should look like. It's relentless. We are bombarded with images of youth and beauty, presented as though they're the ultimate currency of value. It's no wonder we internalize the belief that our worth is tied to how closely we fit into these narrow ideals. But the truth is, the external world can only see the surface. It cannot grasp the depth of your spirit, your unique energy, and the essence of who you are. These are things that no mirror, no opinion, and no societal standard can measure. Now, the real challenge is that many of us have internalized these external judgments to the point where they feel like our own thoughts. We criticize ourselves for not looking a certain way or for not living up to some imagined ideal. This creates a kind of internal war, a constant tension between who we are and who we think we're supposed to be. But let me ask you this: who decided what you're supposed to be? Where did that idea come from? And more importantly, does it truly reflect the essence of who you are? When you strip away all the external noise, the advertisements, the comparisons, the judgments, you're left with something pure. You're left with yourself, unfiltered and whole. That's the part of you that is timeless, that is untouched by the passage of years or the opinions of others. And that is where your true beauty lies. It's in your laugh, your curiosity, your kindness, and the way your eyes light up when you talk about something you love. These are things that can't be measured or confined to any standard. They're what make you unique. Unique. This isn't to say that the external world has no impact. Of course it does. We live in a society that places enormous emphasis on appearances, and it's natural to feel its pull. But here's the thing: you have a choice in how much power you give to those external forces. You can choose to let them dictate how you see yourself, or you can choose to root your sense of self in something deeper, something unshakable. And when you do, you'll notice something extraordinary. The less you depend on external validation, the freer you become. Your spirit begins to shine through, and that radiance is far more captivating than anything surface level. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to glow? It's not because they fit into any particular standard of beauty. It's because they've stopped trying to. They've let go of the need to prove themselves to the world, and in doing so, they've tapped into their own unique energy. That energy is magnetic. It draws people in not because of how they look, but because of how they make others feel. It's a kind of confidence that can only come from within, and it's available to all of us. Now, this doesn't mean ignoring the physical entirely. Taking care of your body is a form of respect for yourself. But it's important to approach it from a place of love rather than criticism. When you nurture yourself, mind, body, and spirit, you create a harmony that resonates outward. It's not about striving for perfection, it's about embracing your wholeness. So the next time you catch yourself looking in the mirror and feeling less than enough, ask yourself whose voice you're listening to. Is it the voice of societal expectations, or is it your own? If it's not your own, let it go. Replace it with a kinder voice, one that recognizes your worth as something far beyond appearances. Remember, the world outside can only offer reflections. It's up to you to decide which ones to believe. The truest reflection of yourself is the one you feel in your heart, the one that knows your spirit is what defines you. When you see yourself through that lens, you'll find that the external world loses its power to diminish you. And so let the world reflect what it will. You are not bound by its judgments. Your spirit is your truest mirror, and it shows a beauty that no external force can take away. That beauty is yours to embrace, and in doing so, you give others the courage to embrace theirs as well. We often find ourselves locked in a battle against time, as if it were an adversary to overcome. We're told to fight aging, to cling to youth, and to preserve a fleeting image of vitality. But what if this battle is based on a misunderstanding? What if the essence of our being is never truly touched by the passage of time? Think about it for a moment. Time, as we understand it, is a construct. It's a way we measure change, a tool to organize our lives, but does it define us? We age, yes, but that's only one perspective. From another view, we're not a timeline, we're a presence, a consciousness, a spirit that doesn't adhere to the same rules as a clock or calendar. The body may change, but the spirit remains timeless. And yet, we often let the perception of time shape how we live and how we see ourselves. We start to believe the narrative that with age we lose value. Society tells us that youth is power, that vitality is only found in the earlier chapters of life. And so many of us fear the turning of years, dreading the changes in our appearance as though they somehow diminish who we are. But let's challenge that notion. What if aging is not a loss, but a transformation? What if, instead of seeing it as a diminishing, we saw it as a deepening? The lines on your face, the gray in your hair, they're not signs of fading. They're records of the life you've lived, the experiences you've embraced, the laughter and tears that have shaped you. They're a testament to your resilience, your courage, and your wisdom. When you connect with this deeper understanding, something profound happens. You begin to realize that beauty isn't a moment in time, it's a quality of being. It's in the way you carry yourself, in the energy you bring to a room, in the kindness you show to others. These things don't fade with age, they grow richer. Your spirit, your essence, isn't defined by numbers. It's defined by the depth of your presence and the light you bring to the world. Consider the people who inspire you, those who seem to radiate a timeless beauty. They're not defined by youth or by fitting into some societal ideal. What draws you to them is their spirit, their authenticity, their passion, their ability to fully inhabit the moment. They've transcended the limitations of time because they've rooted themselves in something eternal. They remind us that our worth isn't found in how we look, but in how we look, but in how we live. So why do we let time hold such power over us? Why do we measure our lives by its passing, as though it's a race we're destined to lose? When we do this, we're not only battling an unwinnable fight, we're also missing the present moment, the only space where life truly unfolds. Instead of fearing time, we can learn to live alongside it, to honor its role in our journey without letting it define us. This isn't about ignoring the reality of aging. It's about shifting our perspective on it. It's about embracing each stage of life as a unique expression of who we are. With every year, we gain new insights, new opportunities for growth. The years don't take away from us. They add layers to our story. And when we see it this way, we find freedom to live fully without the weight of societal expectations or self-imposed limitations. There's a quiet liberation in accepting the passage of time without resistance. When you stop clinging to an idealized version of yourself, you make space for something greater. You make space to simply be, to live in alignment with your true nature, to express the fullness of your spirit, which is not bound by time or age. And that spirit, your spirit, is what truly shapes your appearance. Not in the sense of physical features, but in the way you're perceived, the way you impact the world around you. A radiant spirit shines through any form. It doesn't matter whether you're 20, 40, or 80, or 90. What matters is how you choose to show up in the world, how you connect with others, and how you nurture the essence of who you are. So let go of the fear of aging. Let go of the idea that your value diminishes with time. Instead, root yourself in the truth of your being, a truth that is timeless and unchanging. In doing so, you will find that time no longer feels like an enemy. It becomes a companion, walking alongside you as you continue to unfold the unique beauty of your life. And in this realization, you'll discover something extraordinary. Your spirit is your eternal essence, and its radiance is what truly defines you. Life often feels like a dance between the external and the internal. We're constantly exposed to images, narratives, and idols about how we should look, act, and age. So society bombards us with rules and expectations. But beneath it all, there's something profoundly personal, a truth that can't be dictated from the outside. It's your spirit, your essence, the thing that makes you uniquely you. And yet we often forget to tend to this vital part of ourselves. When it comes to appearance, we've been conditioned to focus on the surface. The shape of our bodies, the smoothness of our skin, the color of our hair, all these external markers become benchmarks of worth. But have you ever noticed how some people seem to defy these metrics? There are those whose presence feels magnetic, who light up a room, not because they look a certain way, but because they embody a certain energy. That energy doesn't come from a jar of cream or a gym routine. It's the reflection of a spirit that's been nurtured, honored, and set free. Think about it. How much time do we spend looking outward for validation, hoping to meet a standard that's constantly shifting? It's exhausting, isn't it? And the more we chase it, the further it seems to slip away. But what if we turned inward instead? What if we focused not on chasing perfection, but on cultivating authenticity? Your spirit, the very core of who you are, is already perfect in its own way. It doesn't need to fit a mold or win anyone's approval. It only asks for your attention and care. When you nourish your inner world, something extraordinary happens. You stop being at the mercy of external expectations. You realize that your worth was never tied to how you look, but to how you feel and how you connect with life itself. That sense of inner peace, that alignment with who you truly are, it radiates outward. People sense it. They're drawn to it. And suddenly your presence becomes more powerful than any physical attribute could ever be. This isn't to say the external world doesn't matter. Of course we want to feel good in our own skin. But feeling good isn't about meeting some arbitrary standard. It's about aligning with your essence. When your actions and choices come from a place of self-respect and self-love, they naturally reflect that alignment. You take care of your body, not out of fear, but out of gratitude. You dress not to impress, but to express. But to express. Your appearance becomes an extension of your inner self rather than a mask to hide behind. And when you start living from this place, the pressure lifts. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're no longer playing the same game. You're not here to be a copy of someone else. You're here to be the truest version of yourself. And that's something no one else can replicate. Your spirit is entirely your own, and when you let it shine, it transforms not just how you feel, but how you're perceived by the world. We often underestimate the power of energy, but it's the foundation of everything. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you interact with others, all of it is shaped by the energy you cultivate within. When you're grounded in your spirit, there's a calmness, a confidence that's impossible to fake. It doesn't matter whether you have wrinkles or grey hair, whether you're tall or short, slim or curvy. What people remember is how you made them feel, the light you brought into their day. That's the kind of beauty that lasts, the kind that transcends time. So how do we nurture this spirit? It's not about doing more, it's about being more present. It's about slowing down and listening to yourself, honoring your needs and embracing your unique rhythm. It's about letting go of the narratives that no longer serve you, the ones that tell you you're not enough. You are enough not because of how you look, but because of who you are. And when you embrace this truth, you unlock a freedom that no external validation can provide. You're no longer a slave to the opinions of others, nor to the ticking of the clock. You realize that time can't diminish you, it can only deepen you. Each moment becomes an opportunity to connect with your essence, to let your spirit guide you, to live in alignment with your true self. And in doing so, you become timeless, not in the sense of staying young forever, but in the sense of transcending the limitations of time altogether. Your spirit shapes your appearance, not by erasing age, but by radiating authenticity. That's the real beauty, the kind that doesn't fade, the kind that leaves an impact far beyond what the eyes can see. Let your spirit shine, and the world will see you as you truly are. So much of our understanding of ourselves in the world is shaped by the stories we tell. These stories define our relationships, our identities, and even the way we view time. And yet these narratives are often built on assumptions that when examined closely start to fall apart. One of the most persistent stories is the idea that our physical appearance is a fixed reality, something unchangeable, governed only by time and biology. But what if that's not entirely true? What if the way you see yourself, the way you feel about yourself, actually has the power to shape what others see? Think about this when you're feeling joyful, when you're alive with enthusiasm. Doesn't the world respond to you differently? Your energy shifts, your body feels lighter, and people around you seem to mirror that back. It's as if the world bends to the way you perceive it and to the way you perceive yourself. Now imagine if that same principle applied to your appearance. What if the way you carried your spirit, the way you engaged with life, actually shaped the way you looked? Not in some magical or superficial way, but in a profound, almost imperceptible shift that changes how others experience you. It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. Science has shown us that our emotions, our mental states, even the stories we tell ourselves, can have a measurable impact on our bodies. Stress, for example, can age us prematurely. Laughter, on the other hand, releases chemicals that promote healing and vitality. These aren't abstract ideas, they're observable realities. Your body responds to your inner world, reflecting the harmony or the discord of your spirit. When your spirit is burdened by worry, resentment, or self-doubt, it shows. It's not just in your posture or your facial expressions, it's in the energy you bring into a room. People pick up on it, even if they can't articulate why. But when your spirit is at ease, when you're aligned with your true self, you carry a radiance that no makeup or outfit can replicate. It's a beauty that comes from within, one that transcends the limitations of age or genetics. This is why two people of the same age can appear so different. One may seem weighed down, while the other seems vibrant, almost glowing, the wares. The difference isn't just physical, it's energetic. It's the spirit that makes one person appear open and alive, while another seems closed off. And here's the key, that vibrancy isn't something you can buy or fake. It's something you cultivate by tending to your inner world. And the way you view yourself is a powerful factor in this equation. If you constantly tell yourself that you're too old to this or not enough of that, your body listens. It responds to that narrative, reflecting it in ways you might not even realize. But when you shift the story, when you begin to see yourself as inherently valuable, as a work in progress, as someone who is growing rather than declining, everything changes. Your spirit lifts, and that lift is reflected in your body, your demeanor, and your presence. It's not about denying the reality of aging or pretending that life doesn't leave its marks. Those marks, in fact, are part of the beauty. They tell a story of experience, of resilience, of a life fully lived. But the story they tell depends on the spirit behind them. A face marked by years of laughter tells a very different story than one etched with years of worry. The difference isn't in the lines themselves, it's in the energy behind them. So the question is, what kind of energy are you cultivating? Are you feeding your spirit with joy, curiosity, and self-compassion? Or are you allowing fear, regret, and self-criticism to take the lead? See, the choice is yours, and it's a choice you make every day in the small, seemingly insignificant moments that make up a life. This isn't to say that you should ignore your physical self. The body is a temple, a vessel for the spirit, and it deserves care and respect. But that care should come from a place of love, not fear. When you nourish your body with movement, with rest, with the right food, you're also nourishing your spirit. The two are deeply connected, and each supports the other. What's most important, though, is to remember that your spirit is the foundation. It's the source of your energy, your vitality, your beauty. When you honor it, when you align with it, everything else falls into place. People won't just see you, they'll feel you. And that feeling, that energy, is what truly makes an impression. It's what lingers long after you've left the room. So tend to your spirit. Let it shine, because in the end, it's not the surface that matters most, it's the light that comes from within. As we reflect on how spirit shapes appearance, let's explore a deeper truth. The way we carry ourselves in life is not just about how we look, but about the energy we radiate. It's a truth that can feel elusive in a world obsessed with external validation. We are bombarded with messages about how to appear younger, fitter, more polished, always presenting an image that pleases others. But the irony is, in this endless chase for perfection, we often lose sight of the very thing that makes us magnetic, the authenticity, our spirit. When someone walks into a room, their presence is felt before a single word is spoken. It's not their clothes or their hairstyle that truly captivates, it's the energy they carry. That energy comes from the inside, shaped by the way they live, the way they think, and the way they feel about themselves. This is why two people who look similar on the surface can evoke completely different responses from those around them. One may feel alive, vibrant, and open, while the other may feel guarded, heavy, or distant. The difference lies in their inner state, the alignment or misalignment of their spirit. What does alignment mean in this context? It's the harmony between who you are, how you live, and how you present yourself to the world. It's about living in a way that feels true to your essence, free from the need to perform or please. When you're in alignment, there's an ease about you that others can't help but notice. You don't need to chase approval or work to be seen, because your presence speaks for itself. Think of someone you admire, not for their appearance, but for the way they make you feel when they're around. They have a warmth, a confidence that feels effortless. That ease doesn't come from chasing ideals or worrying about how they're perceived. It comes from within. It's a reflection of a spirit at peace, unburdened by the noise of self-doubt or comparison. This is the energy that draws people in, that creates a lasting impression. But how do we cultivate that alignment in our own lives? It starts with awareness. Notice the stories you tell yourself about who you are and how you're supposed to be. Are those stories kind? Are they empowering? Or are they filled with judgment and fear? The stories we believe shape the way we see ourselves, and that self-perception influences how we move through the world. If you carry the belief that you're not enough, it will show not just in your mood, but in the very way you hold yourself. To shift those stories, we must practice self-compassion. This doesn't mean indulging in excuses or ignoring areas where we can grow. It means treating ourselves with the same kindness we would offer a dear friend. When you stumble, instead of berating yourself, ask what you can learn. When you feel insecure, remind yourself that you are a work in progress, just like everyone else. This shift in perspective doesn't just change how you feel, it changes the energy you project. And then there's the courage to live authentically. It's tempting to mold ourselves to fit the expectations of others, to become what we think we need to be to gain approval or love. But in doing so, we dim our own light. Authenticity isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. It's about letting the world see the full spectrum of who you are, the strengths, the flaws, the vulnerabilities, and trusting that you are worthy just as you are. When you show up in this way, you give others permission to do the same. And that authenticity, that realness, is profoundly attractive. The beauty of living authentically is that it frees you from the exhausting task of maintaining an image. You no longer need to chase after people's attention or approval because you're rooted in the truth of your own worth. That kind of confidence is magnetic. It draws people to you, not because of what you're doing, but because of who you are. So stop worrying about how you're seen and start focusing on how you feel. Care for your spirit. Nurture it with joy, with love, with experiences that make you feel alive. And as you do, you'll notice something remarkable. The world begins to reflect that energy back to you. People will respond not just to your appearance, but to the light within you. Ultimately, the way we appear to others is only a fraction of the story. The real beauty lies in how we make them feel. And that begins with how we feel about ourselves. When your spirit is aligned, your presence becomes undeniable. You don't need to chase, to strive, to impress. Your energy will speak for you, and it will say all that needs to be said. So, let your spirit shine. Let it shape not just how you appear, but how you live, how you connect, and how you love. Because in the end, it's not the surface that lingers in memory, it's the essence, the energy, the light that comes from within.